I'm currently eating in a calorie deficit and I crave a big bowl of pasta multiple nights a week. But it can be hard to fit this in while trying to reach fitness goals as pasta is very calorie dense and high in carbs. So I decided to fix that. Hi, if you're new here, I'm Amanda, aka Fit Food AE, and today we're going to be making 3 high protein, low calorie pasta recipes with 50 grams of protein or more per serving. So let's get started, shall we? So first up, we've got our high protein spaghetti and meatballs that has 50 grams of protein and under 600 calories for this massive serving. So the vegetables we're going to be using are broccoli and onions. Obviously, it's good to add vegetables into your pasta as it adds volume for very little calories. So we're going to make sure to chop those up first. I use the techniques that I use. I don't actually know if it's like the most efficient way to chop the onion, but I basically chop it lengthwise and then widthwise and then just like cut everything off, and then those are kind of the pieces that I like to use. And I use white onion, but you can kind of use whatever you have. So now we're going to mix together the ingredients for the cheese sauce. So I make this cheese sauce quite often. It's super simple. We're using 1% cottage cheese and then also some nutritional yeast and some light shredded marbled cheese. So we're also going to add in a bit of marinara sauce. This is to add liquid and also make it kind of like a rosé kind of color. And then we're going to add spices. I use paprika, salt, and garlic powder. So you need a good blender to blend this together. You might have to fiddle around with it a bit. If you need to add a little bit of water, that's fine. Look at how thick it is. I actually thought it would come out like more rosé color, but turns out it just makes it a little bit more orange, but that's totally fine. So for the broccoli, we're going to put in the air fryer, add our normal spices, salt, garlic powder, paprika, and then we're actually going to use Gardein meatballs. So these are vegan meatballs. Obviously, you can use regular ones if you want, but I'm vegetarian. So I have this dual basket air fryer, which is great. It's sur la table, so I'm going to make them both at the same time. And then we're going to make the onions on the stove top as it's cooking. So I use Catelli protein spaghetti. It's such a good option. You can also use like black bean spaghetti if you don't have that. It only takes like 8 minutes to cook, so make sure that it's one of the last things that you prepare, just so it's not sitting there because you don't want it to like dry up or get cold. Then we're gonna add the cheese sauce. This is my favorite part, mixing the cheese sauce into the spaghetti. Now, spaghetti is a bit stubborn to mix this cheese sauce into. It was easier with the other 2 recipes, but yeah, just try to get it as evenly coated as possible. It looks so, so good. Oh my God. I'm glad that regular pasta can just be bought as protein pasta because it makes it a lot easier and you can find it at pretty much any grocery store. Now we're gonna mix in the broccoli and the onions. Again, I love adding vegetables to make it more high volume and just add our micronutrients in. So you're gonna mix that as evenly as possible there. And then I didn't show it in the video, but I portioned it into 4 because the recipe makes 4 portions. So I'm just showing you 1 portion here. And look at how big of a portion it is. Like this is literally without the meatballs. And then we're gonna add the 3 meatballs in, which are really low in calories, by the way. The macros on these meatballs are amazing. And then this looks so good. This portion, I was struggling to eat this because it's such a big portion and it fills you up so much, which is great because it literally is 50 grams of protein. It's perfect to have as like a lunch to fill you up until dinner, or a dinner to make sure you don't wake up hungry. I love a little pasta twirl there. This pasta is so creamy. The cheese sauce is super creamy. So yeah, the easiest way to do it is to just break up the meatballs. I just had them whole just for the video, but yeah, you're gonna wanna break them up just to mix them into the pasta. And then look at that. It was so, so good. I was so happy with how this recipe turned out. You gotta make sure to make the cheese sauce thick like I did to make sure it coats everything evenly. Next up, we've got our chicken, like chick apostrophe and rigatoni. Of course, you could use regular chicken if you want. I'm just vegetarian, so we're using vegan chicken. Anyway, we're gonna chop up the onion as so, and then we're also gonna use cherry tomatoes in this recipe. I love using cherry ones instead of the regular ones. I think they work really well for pasta. And then for our mushrooms, we're just gonna break them up with our fingers. Honestly, guys, looking at these mushrooms, I think they might have been like on the verge of being expired because they have a few speckles, but that's okay. I still ate it and it was fine. So we're gonna make the cheese sauce. Guys, this is actually the same cheese sauce we used in the previous video. I absolutely love this one. I make this cheese sauce with and without the marinara, depending on which recipe I make. But yeah, it's literally so low in calories, high in protein, and absolutely delicious. I use my Zwilling blender to bring this all together. I was lucky enough to work with Zwilling on a handful of other videos I did, but this video is not sponsored. So we're using tofurkey vegan chicken, but we're not using the whole package of it. We're just using 3/4 of it, just because macros I wanted to keep it under 600 calories. So yeah, we're gonna put that in the air fryer. I believe I put it in for like 8 minutes at 400 Fahrenheit. You're gonna put the onions to cook, and then obviously the water's gonna be boiling as we're doing all this just to make sure it's ready to go. And we're gonna add our Catelli protein penne. Again, love the brand Catelli. Sponsor me, please. I actually asked them on Instagram, I'm like, can you guys give me some PR? And they're like, oh, our PR list is full. I'm like, ugh, okay, whatever, that's fine. So I make the onions and the mushrooms in the pan. I actually add the tomatoes like when they're close to being done. The tomatoes don't take as long to cook. To test out if the pasta's done, just like taste one of the penne pieces, and then if it's like soft and it tastes fine and it's not dense, then it's perfect. Then we're gonna pour in the cheese sauce, a little bit stubborn because it's a thick cheese sauce, but I absolutely love mixing it together like this. Look at how good and cheesy and thick it looks. Oh my God. Make sure to coat all the pieces evenly, and also when you're getting the cheese out of the blender, see that little orange, I don't even know what to call it. Like it's a thinner spatula, but that helps to scrape all the cheese out of the blender just to make sure you get it all out. But yeah, after you mix that, you're gonna mix in the veggies, so the mushrooms, the tomatoes, and the onion. And I also made sure to season the mushroom, tomatoes, and onion as I was cooking it. I'm sure you guys saw that. Just with salt, garlic powder, paprika. If you're really strict about the macros, I guess you could like mix the veggies in to each portion, but I personally like, veggies are low in calories, so I was like, whatever. But then for the vegan chicken, I made sure to put the measured amount on top of each portion. And look at how big that portion is. This is massive, guys. Same story. Like, you're probably gonna have trouble finishing this because it's so high in protein and the volume is crazy on this. I absolutely love eating this kind of pasta for dinner. I make a variation of one of these 3 pastas for dinner like multiple nights a week for my boyfriend and I, and we absolutely love it. And I obviously love eating high volume things because it helps me stay full in my calorie deficit. You guys are gonna absolutely love this recipe. And finally, we've got our Beyond Steak mac and cheese. I didn't show myself chopping the veggies for this one because I was like, hey, they get it. They know how to chop veggies. They probably know how to chop them better than me. So for the cheese sauce, this one was a little bit different. Instead of using the rosé, I used a little bit of Fairlife skim milk for the liquid because I wanted this one to just be more like cheddar-y and not like rosé-y because, I don't know, just like mac and cheese, whatever. So yeah, we're gonna blend that all up. Again, guys, less is more for the Fairlife. Like add the amount that I wrote. And then if you want it to be less thick, just add a little bit more Fairlife and blend it together. But yeah, that's basically the texture that I got. Looked so good. But you don't want to add too much Fairlife because then it's gonna be like watery. If you do accidentally do that though, you maybe just add a little bit more cottage cheese. So this recipe calls for diced onions, tomatoes, and mushrooms. We're always gonna cook the onions first. And again, we're using Catelli, but this time the protein macaroni. I think they have 3 types of pasta, and yeah, I use all 3 of them for this recipe. I absolutely love their stuff. Please notice me. So yeah, we're gonna make sure the onions are like starting to get brown, and then we're gonna add the other veggies. So we're gonna start off by adding the mushrooms, which I just broke up with my hands. And then we're gonna add the Beyond Steak tips once the vegetables look like this. So once they're like almost done, because the Beyond Steak doesn't take very long to cook. As you're cooking the veggies in the Beyond Steak, make sure to check on the pasta, and then once it's done, obviously you're gonna drain it. But yeah, this macaroni doesn't take very long. I think it takes like 6 minutes. It's much quicker than regular pasta, I feel like. Or I don't know, maybe I just didn't notice before, but I feel like regular pasta takes longer. You're gonna add the tomatoes in at the end, and then of course you're gonna add your salt, garlic powder, paprika into the veggie mixture, because I just love when everything's super seasoned. Sometimes my boyfriend's like, oh, this is too salty, whatever, but I always add extra salt to everything because I just love it. Make sure not to burn the veggies, just always keep an eye on them, and then if you need to, just put the temperature down just so they're still warm. Once you drain the pasta, put it back into the pot, and then we're gonna add the cheese sauce. Yeah, my absolute favorite thing. I just love like pouring it in and see it in the blobs, looks so cheesy, and then mix it together. It mixes really well with the macaroni. It's way easier to mix it than with the spaghetti noodles, but yeah, make sure to coat everything evenly. It's funny, this is actually the first recipe that I made out of the 3, but the first time I made it, I had to remake it because basically the cheese sauce wasn't thick enough. Like there wasn't as much cheese sauce I would have liked. And then the macaroni noodles look kind of bare. And I was like, no, I need to make the cheese sauce thicker and add more. So that's what I did. And yeah, it looks so cheesy and delicious here. If you're having a lazy day, honestly, you could just make mac and cheese as is. You don't even have to do the vegetables or the Beyond Steak, but obviously it adds volume and, you know, some micronutrients, which is great. So we're just gonna pour those in. Again, I decided to make this a little bit easier and just put everything in, like the veggies and the Beyond Steak. I find it mixes pretty evenly and the Beyond Steak has pretty good macros, but if you're a bit more strict, there's obviously a second way you can do this, and that's to add in the mix-ins after you portion out the 4 portions of the pasta. So it's totally up to you, but yeah, I feel like either way it kind of evens out, especially if you make this as often as I do. Yeah, look at that giant portion. I absolutely love this recipe. Beyond Steak was something I discovered recently, or maybe it's a new product. I'm pretty sure it's like a fairly new product, but I just love how it makes it inclusive for vegetarians to be able to enjoy the same things that you meat eaters do. I mean, obviously it doesn't taste the same. I don't remember the steak. I haven't eaten steaks since I was like 14 years old, but yeah, look at how delicious this looks. So creamy and cheesy. And the whole point of all 4 of these recipes is they work really well with meal prep. So if you want to prep 4 portions and eat them throughout the week, or if you have a partner or family, these work perfectly. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed these recipes, then I'm sure you're looking for more dinner recipes, so I'll link a video here that you should watch next. And please be sure to give this video a like, subscribe, and share it with your friends, as it really helps the channel, and I post new videos every week. And with that, I will see you guys next time. Bye!